It is about 1:30 in the morning. I should be sleeping, but I'm a little too hyper. I need to talk about what I just saw, which is the changing of the guard and new women's bantamweight champion Holly Holm. Now, before we get to that, I have to say, watching the UFC, everybody goes on and on about how Stephan Bonnar and Forrest Griffin put the UFC on the map. With all due respect to those gentlemen, I disagree. The person that put the UFC on the map is Ronda Rousey, because Ronda Rousey single-handedly boosted the women's division. Not just the bantamweight, but because of her, I believe the strawweight division was put on the map as well. Opponent after opponent after opponent, she made mincemeat out of all of them. And that transcended into pop culture. Seeing her in movies, seeing her show up at WrestleMania, her becoming a household name, being known as the most dangerous unarmed woman on the planet. Her loss tonight does not diminish that. But the big story of the night is the fact that she lost her title to Holly Holm. And not just lost her title, but lost in devastating fashion. Knocked the heck out in the second round, to the point where she's rolling around with Herb Dean because she has no idea where she is. So I want to congratulate Holly Holm on becoming the new champion. Quite frankly, I didn't think she would do it. I was thinking, hey, is this match going to even last a minute? Not only did it last a minute, it lasted into the second round, where Holly Holm, who was pretty much untouched in this fight, finished off Ronda Rousey with a devastating kick. Now, I want to give respect to Ronda Rousey for all of the wonderful things that she's done, and I don't want to talk about her like her career is over. Sometimes you need to fall before you get back up and you come back stronger. But I go back, and I know I've used this quote for those of you who watched my blogs before. Iron Man 2, quote, you know, if you make God bleed, people will stop believing in him. Well, we all thought that Ronda Rousey was this person who was completely impervious to pain. She was going to walk through everyone. But tonight we saw Ronda Rousey who was exposed, somebody who was beaten up, somebody who even after the first round, her face was starting to swell, and then the second round, absolutely we saw her bleed and we saw her fall. But before I give all of that credit to Holly Holm, I've got to give Holly Holm credit not only for this victory, but I've got to say I think that part of her thank you speech should be able to go out and thank people like Miesha Tate and Liz Carmouche and Kat Zingano. Because by going back and watching all of those tapes of those fights that those people had with Ronda Rousey, she was able to pick up on, hey, I need to get out of this armbar. I got to make sure I'm not being taken for a judo toss. I think by studying all those tapes, and if Ronda Rousey doesn't go through all those women, Holly Holm doesn't have that tape to study. So what I hope happens now is that maybe you give Ronda Rousey Miesha Tate, because Miesha Tate's been begging for that match, and let Ronda Rousey go through her to set up a rematch against Holly Holm at UFC 200. People say the biggest upset in UFC history was when Anderson Silva lost to Chris Weidman. With all due respect, I disagree. When Anderson Silva lost the title to Chris Weidman, we saw Anderson Silva, with all due respect, acting like a jackass, and he got caught. Ronda wasn't acting like a jackass, with the exception, perhaps, of her not wanting to shake Holly Holm's hands at the beginning of the fight, which I personally think is, you know, a little lack of class, but she has her reasons. She came into this fight the same way she comes into every fight, ready to fight. And Holly Holm had everything scouted to perfection. She got out of the way, she made sure she didn't take any damage, and she struck. And when she struck, she made it count. So, again, does this diminish Ronda Rousey's career? Absolutely not. She had a loss, and I'm sure she'll bounce back, and God help the next woman that she gets in the octagon with. Holly Holm, hopefully she'll be able to hold on to the title for a while, because who won't want to see this rematch? A few years ago, if you went back when Stephan Bonnar and Forrest Griffin were coming up and supposedly putting UFC on the map, would you have thought about the women's division being this exciting and being this dominant? No, but I'll tell you something. Ronda Rousey, for me, is probably one of the most entertaining fighters in the UFC, and that hasn't changed after tonight. I congratulate Holly Holm on winning the title and shocking the world. I congratulate Ronda Rousey for everything she's done and will do for this sport, and I can't wait to see these two women fight again. If you don't think that women can bring the excitement in the UFC, you have no idea what the heck you're talking about, because they sure brought it tonight. I'm Keith, CFL_fan on Twitter, Facebook.com/WittyWhittier, WittyWhittier.com. I'm going to go get some honey for my voice because I'm a little excited. I'm a little tingling. I cannot believe what I just saw. Upset of all time. Biggest upset of all time. Anybody who was like, oh, I think Holly Holm's going to win, full of it, because I didn't hear anybody talking that. Ronda came in as such an overwhelming favorite, but sometimes the favorites fall, and they fell tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out this blog, and I'll see you soon.